It's interesting listening back on this podcast from November 2020. There were some predictions made, some that came to fruition and some that didn't. But yeah, it's I would say maybe like a historical perspective or a snapshot of a part of American history in the making of this election 2020. And now listening to this podcast post, what is it now? It's late January, and this is after the Capitol riots. It's it is an interesting snapshot of our times, and that's why I wanted to post this. Thank you for listening and be a fan of this podcast. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, and yeah, have a listen. I think there's something to be gained about how we Americans, Asian Americans specifically, are trying to handle the turmoil that's happening in the world and the specific racism that has been, targeted, thrown at us during this time of the coronavirus. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to release this episode, and thank you for listening.
Are you looking at us, Dan, or were you looking? Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the election results.
Oh yeah, right now it's like what, 223 to 118. That's what I got here.
Really?
That's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I got 223, 118.
That's for Joe Biden to Donald Trump. Yeah. And then,
but Pennsylvania and Michigan, they have a lot of votes to count.
So Val, just for context, Dan and I started this podcast about 4 years ago. Well, exactly 4 years ago. This was, I think, our second episode where we were watching the election results coming in. Towards like 10 p.m. or so, it was pretty for sure that Trump had won by then.
Right.
For this one, it seems like we might be contested all the way up until tomorrow morning or the day after, or even Friday, they're saying.
As long as it goes in our direction, that's all I care about. Really.
Yin and Young, tell us everything you want to be. Yin and Young, share with us all of your dreams. Yin and Young, gotta learn how to fight. Be yourself in this life. It's alright.
Welcome back to Yin and Young the Podcast. This is the election edition. I'm joined by my co-host, Daniel Yin. Say hello, Dan.
Hello.
And I'm also joined with Valerie So, filmmaker and on a former guest of a previous episode. And Hi, Val. And then we've got Darren Kwan, also a previous guest as well, longtime listener and guest for we started for an Oscar episode, and we also did an episode during the pandemic. So welcome back, Darren.
Hey, what's up?
So today is basically, I was just filling Val in, so Dan and I started this podcast 4 years ago. It was just me and him talking, shooting the shit, and we were talking about election results. And at the time, it was much more dark, actually, because it was by this time, around 9 p.m., 10 p.m., it was pretty for sure that Trump had won.
Yeah.
And now they're saying we won't really know until Friday. I wonder why it's different this time. Does anyone know? Is it because of the
mail-in ballots?
A lot more people are doing mail-in ballots this year, huh?
Yeah, because Pennsylvania has 2 million more votes to count, and then Michigan has 3.
Yeah, but if you think about it, though, to be honest, I feel like some states it doesn't matter mail-in vote late or not, because those states, they're not gonna go with Biden. They're just not. To be honest.
But luckily, they're the ones that, it's the big ones that you have to worry about, right? Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin? Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin. Carolina, Biden has a pretty good chance right now. Pennsylvania is kind of a toss-up. I don't think Michigan or Wisconsin he has a chance. he's basically lost. I'm pretty sure Biden already lost Texas and Florida. I mean, it hurts me to say this, but it looks like that's the route that's happening right now.
So if he, yeah.
Florida is 96% reported in, so
Yeah,
pretty much gone.
that one is Trump already, and Texas. I mean, Texas is I think Trump has a pretty big lead right now.
Yeah,
On
6 points.
Yeah, it's a lot. 6%. Yeah.
Yeah. So disappointing.
So wait,
They
so
just
big,
declared Ohio.
Well,
too.
yeah. I mean, it's weird that like for all the stuff that he's done for the past 4 years, and people are still voting for him. It's like who the fuck votes for that kind of person? I'm sorry. It's just like what
Exactly.
is going on?
Exactly.
What is going on? That's
What
the
is
shocking
going
thing.
on?
Is like
Yeah.
it's like you feel like you wake up and you're like all of a sudden, who are these people that are living in the same country with me?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what the hell?
I'm applying for a Taiwanese passport like right now.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, right.
Oh, no. I would think that with the COVID-19 and all this kind of racial injustice and all the stuff going on, that those states would flip to Biden because Trump did so terrible. But the fact that those states still went with him for whatever reason, which is just like,
It's racism.
yeah, it blows my mind.
You know, I'm sorry. Just like
It blows
people
my
are
mind.
just
If
messed
he
up.
wins Texas and Florida, does he win? Trump?
No.
No,
No.
but he's a big. But he might be in the lead.
It'll be contested at that point because it'll be so close.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because, like-
I can't. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay on this call because I'm just like it's.
Let's talk about
Usually at
something
this
else.
point in the night, I just stop paying attention because it's too stressful.
I
So-
mean,
Yeah.
can you? Yeah, I mean, are you gonna handle it until Friday? Because it sounds like it's gonna be stressful till Friday, huh?
daytime is okay. It's just nighttime when I need to go to sleep. I got to clear my mind.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean? It's like
Well-
it's just time to like totally like, zone out at this point.
Yeah, let's talk about something else. Well, let's circle
No,
back.
I mean it's
to,
cool. You know, it's your show. You can talk
We
about it.
can. Yeah, let's circle. Let's circle.
Really, I mean, it's sort of that's just my own personal problem, right? That I
we
A
can.
lot of people are like that. Though.
I think a lot of people are anxious about it. Yeah. Let's circle back to this. I mean, one thing I shared with Dan the other day was like, yeah, it's crazy. You're in the Bay, right, Val? You're in East
yes,
Bay. Yeah.
San Francisco.
You're in San Francisco proper. Cool. We're
Yeah,
all,
I'm
we're
actually
all,
in San Francisco.
and the three of us are all here in SoCal. Darren and I are originally from actually the Bay Area, South Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And how have been just up there? I mean, how has the racism been? Have you experienced any racism up there?
Yeah, I mean, I think once you get outside of San Francisco, there's definitely it's just like any other place, and even in San Francisco, there are people who are like saying shit. Like, okay, so I was at Trader Joe's. This is like during the summer sometime, and this person who was clearly mentally ill walked by. The people were all waiting in line at Trader Joe's, right? But this mentally ill person walks by and says something like, fucking Asians, we have to stand in line because of COVID or something, and it's just like, okay, I realize that you're mentally ill and that's like whatever, but at the same time it's like, where do they get the idea that they can like say stuff like that? And then actually that's the very same day another friend of mine got called a chink in the Safeway parking lot in like Berkeley, so it's definitely happening. Yeah.
And that's by mentally ill people, both times? Like,
No, I mean, the person that I saw at Trader Joe's was kind of like pretty clearly not like all, they were messed up. But I don't know about the person at Safeway.
Did you
So.
say anything to the homeless person or, I don't know, the mentally ill person?
No, I mean, I think someone else actually yelled at them in line. They said, don't shut up or something.
Oh, yeah. Because
Yeah.
that actually happened
So.
to me, well, shit, what was that? 2 days ago.
Sunday. Yeah.
I got kind of like down on it, so I talked to Dan, and I tried to get some of his perspective. And maybe if you guys have some perspective, like I was at Dunkin Donuts 2 days ago, and there's this lady on her phone, and then she's like looking at her phone, but then looking at me, and then said, "Oh hey," or like, well, she's like, "Man, you fucking Asians, you have to pay my bills because of COVID. You know, you have to. Yeah, it's all your guys' fault. You guys eat dirty things. White people are better. We have better diet." She's like mumbling all this shit to herself, but then she's looking at me. So for the first time, I'm like, "Hey, lady, do you like chicken?" And she's like, "What?" And she keeps saying, you know, dirty Asian. But I'm like, "Do you like chicken?" And she like, I yelled at her, and then she's like, "Yeah, I like chicken." And she's like, "Well, I'm trying to eat chicken." I was eating chicken at the time. I had brought some chicken to Dunkin Donuts. Basically, I was using their table to eat outdoors. I bought a drink from them, and she's like, I'm like, "Well, let me eat my chicken in peace." And so she got quiet, and then I was feeling pretty proud of myself, like, oh, I resolved this issue without having to resort to like name calling or violence or whatever. But she starts up again. But the second time, when she starts up again saying, "Oh, you dirty Asians, blah, blah, blah," there was like some 20-year-old girl or something like holding the door for a friend. And she sees me and this lady looking at me. And I'm like, and I freeze up. I don't say anything. Because I don't know, maybe it's ego or something, but I didn't want to. Yeah, I kind of just like froze up. I don't know. I didn't say anything. But then like, so this girl's like looking at me like, what the fuck is going on? She didn't say that, but I could see in her eyes like, what is going on? And then she bounces once her friends leave. And then I was like, huh. This is like a good 1 minute or so. And then after they leave, I go into the Dunkin' Donuts and tell the cashier, "Hey, this lady outside is saying racist shit," and he goes to speak to her, and then she stays quiet. But I was just wondering about that one interaction with that one girl. About, yeah, it just seemed. Well, two things. I personally felt like I froze up, and I wish I could have like said something, or maybe told that girl, "Hey, can you speak to the proprietor or whatever, to the Dunkin' Donuts person for me," or some shit like that. And then two was like, yeah, she didn't do anything. She's like, she just looked at it like, oh, what the hell's going on? Maybe she saw that the other lady was kind of like off, and so maybe not engage. But yeah, if anything, I was depressed for like the whole day though, and even today I still feel lingering things. Like, I think these kind of interactions it really just shows how racism, one, it hurts, but at the same time, I do think it really hurts the person that is insulted, because like, even today I was on set, I'm doing COVID compliance now for some short films, and even today on set, like, they were taking orders for like drinks, and I was just setting up my stuff, and like they told, I was like, oh, they're getting orders. It sounded like they were just getting orders for the cast that were rehearsing, right? So I didn't think of like, hey, raising my voice and say, "Hey, I'd like to get like a hot chocolate or something like that." So then the second AD was later like, "Oh, James, sorry, I forgot about you. I'll get you on the next order, whatever." And I was like, "Oh, but I was fucking here." I'm pretty sure you saw me. And she's like this white lady, and she's nice enough. She's a little bit ornery, but she's nice enough, yeah. And maybe she really did miss me. But the other thing was that I didn't. Maybe she did miss. Didn't see me. I was like maybe behind something. She didn't see me. But the other thing is that I didn't speak up. I didn't say, "Hey, oh, I'm here. Can I get an order too?" And that's something I've come across. I don't know if anyone else has come across this in their life, of not like speaking up or feeling passed over. And is race part of that? Maybe I'm thinking too much about it.
Did you ever get your hot chocolate? Like, did she make another order and get you some hot chocolate?
I put in my lunch order. Obviously when we're getting lunch, everyone has to put in their lunch order, and I made sure to get a drink too. that was it. But we eventually, yeah.
Oh man,
It's a small thing, right?
I don't know.
It's a small thing, but at
You
the
kn-
same time, it does dig at me a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, it's like when I was living in Taiwan and Hong Kong, right? Even though I was only there for a few months, at first it took a little while for me to get used to like the way that people have like certain like politeness codes, you know? Like you always have to like you it's always your fault when anything happens, right? Like if someone forgot to get you a drink, you would say, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, it's because of me." And then they would say, "No, no, no, it's because of me." Right? Whereas here is like if you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's I forgot to like say something," they would just say, "Oh yeah, whatever." So it's like that. It's like I don't know if it's because it's like an Asian thing that we were brought up with that we're supposed to always be polite in that way to take that blame, right? Because that's just like the convention. So when you come up against like people who are not raised with that, then they don't understand that, right? So okay, here's another example that I have that's kind of hilarious. So I was in somewhere. I got some kind of tea gift, right? Like a big thing of tea. And I was with this friend of mine who was Japanese American. And we didn't want to pack it in our bags. We were in Macau. We didn't want to pack it in our suitcase. It was too big to bring home. And so my other friend said, "Hey, Hiroshi, do you want to take this tea home with you? Because I don't want to put it in my suitcase." And Hiroshi goes, "Oh, no, of course not." And my friend said, "You sure?" And he said, No, it's fine." And she said, "Okay, I'll take it home." And you could tell he was really disappointed because he was raised to always refuse things 3 times because he was raised like with a Japanese family. And so like that message was missed. He really did want the tea, but he had to politely say no 3 times before he could say yes. And so like somehow I feel like that sometimes, maybe our parents, even though we're like born here, maybe our parents taught us you got to always like have that code of politeness that people who are not raised with Asian parents don't understand. So they like miss that message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Does that mean that we should not be as polite and nice anymore?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think you got to kind of code switch, right? You got to.
Depends on the environment, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if Hiroshi had just come out and said, "Yeah, I want that tea," then and we like American-born Chinese would say, "Oh yeah, here it is." We wouldn't be offended that he didn't say no 3 times, right? But he was somehow thinking we were going to understand that even though he said 3 times, he really wanted the tea.
Right. No, that's a great point. It's kind of like who takes the onus of a mistake, And,
and it's like it's a cultural thing in some ways.
I think it is because I think as Asian, even on this one set I'm working on, my manager says, "James, you're trying to take on too much," and I'm like, oh, it made me step back and think about like, do I really need to help them on this particular loadout, but then I have to be in early the next day? But we're on different shifts, so actually I don't have to continue and helping them out. I can go home and prep for the next day, stuff like that. It's kind of like, I guess what's the word is like entitlement or having some selfishness. Those are like bad words in our culture, in Asian culture, but maybe a better word is like having some, I don't know, self-care and self-respect, and not trying to burn. I like even just listening to you speak on that topic made me think about for this white lady who says, "Oh, James, I didn't see you. I'll get you on the next one, whatever." Like, or you must have been. She said these are the exact words. "Oh, you must have been busy doing such and such, which is probably why I didn't get your order." And it's my fault. Like white Americans are like, it's not our fault. It's whatever. It's China. That's what the president said, right? And it's just okay. So there's to bring it to a broader spectrum is there's a virus, but like fuck, it's not being taken care of. It's not all China's fault. There's viruses every day, but like for it to spread this rapidly and destroy so many lives, guess whose fault that is? That you have to take some personal responsibility. And I'm
Well,
talking
I mean,
about the president
that's
now.
a whole nother thing, right? I mean,
Right,
that's like,
right.
clearly,
But-
like, the government is messing this shit up so badly.
But like, I think it goes back to that idea you talk about is personal responsibility. Like, who's taking responsibility for the pandemic? In the U.S.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, taking responsibility nowadays is not the American way.
So like,
I mean,
Well,
we-
it's not the government's
it-
way.
it's like
well,
passing the buck
the
is the
thing-
American way, I guess, right?
Well, but the reason why is but you have the government and someone like Trump as like a supposed role model people look to. So technically, it's not really the American way anymore because everyone acts like Trump now. So basically, everyone will blame it on someone else. Let's just put it that way.
Oh God.
That's the reality. No, that's the reality of it. It's not even being, it's not even being pessimistic. It's just the reality of the situation. That's literally what it is, and that's why like this election was so crucial because you don't want another 4 years of this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, yep, the fish rots from the head down, right? So,
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
That's a good quote.
That's the thing, So I guess it's one of those things where we just have to try to find a way to kind of adapt and play the game too, right? I mean, of course, we don't do it like where we, lie all the time and spread fake news or do any of that stuff. But I mean, it's funny. Sometimes I'm thinking in my head like, oh, maybe we Asians might have to play a little dirty too, just to be able to match these other people. You know how it's kind of like one of those weird way of like, if you want to be as successful as these people, you kind of have to play their dirty game too, which is sort of really bad way to put it.
Dan, we haven't heard from you yet. What's your thoughts on all this code switching, playing dirty, or I guess in this context, playing dirty white American, or dirty entitled American? Not necessarily white. There's other Americans that do this stupid shit too. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of just like roll with it for the time being, right? You have to say whatever you want to say when it happens, because you just don't want. You have to like make that a teachable moment for that person, and then just kind of go from there. You can't change everybody, but if you don't say anything at that point, when it happens is when you have to sit up and have to like make and teach them or educate them in some way, or even it doesn't even have to be something major. You just have to just tell them that you're not going to stand for their shit.
Yeah, like telling someone to shut the fuck up when they need to be told to shut the fuck up. Yeah. I was talking to I'm taking some Japanese lessons right now, and I told my teacher about this incident, and she's like a younger Japanese woman, and she heard me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, when I was living in the U.S., I would get that all the time." I'm like, "What? All the time?" She's like, "Yeah, I would get it. Like I took a Greyhound from L.A. to San Francisco before, and the lady next to me was just saying, she hate Japanese people, Asian people, or blah blah blah. The whole I'm like, for those 7 hours, she's like, yeah, she got quiet in the middle, but yeah, almost like maybe 7 hours. Yeah, I'm like, you didn't say anything, and the Japanese like, well, you can't really change their idea. You can't really say. So it's kind of like your friend Hiroshi. It's like, wow, it's such a different code, right? I think Chinese.
well, I mean, also,
yeah.
In the U.S., you got to worry if people are packing a gun too, or you know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
man, you
think
don't want
that's
to
right.
mess with people because they could like plug you.
Right, and a lot of Japanese people and Chinese people think like all Americans have guns, and
Right,
in
which-
some states
yeah.
that's true,
It's definitely true.
So they're like, I don't want to say anything to this racist person who may have a gun, like
on a Greyhound bus, man, you're stuck on the bus with that person for like
Yeah.
hours. Yeah,
I just
I mean that's sad, but
I was just amazed by like, I guess I don't know what that is, this Japanese endurance to endure, insults or something.
Enrio.
It's unreal. Yeah. And I think, yeah. I mean, I don't think
You know,
Chinese
although
people
I
stand
have
for
to-
that shit that much though. But yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen like clips on YouTube though where certain Asian people like jump back and like kick the shit out of people. So did you think that was one like in some like coffee shop or something where the dude jumped over the table and like the counter and like clocked the white dude?
Oh wow.
He clocked him
Wow.
really hard. And then there's
I mean-
another one too where like there's a guy walking in traffic and the guy's harassing him and saying racist shit to him. And he like tries to like say, you know, just knock it off. And finally he just just kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah, I saw that video.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, these are all on Twitter. You know, you got to just watch these on Twitter because they're. So I mean, it's not everybody's just like taking it quietly. There's
Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Dan?
Oh no, I think that last one happened in San Diego or something, right?
Was it?
Last altercation. It was in a crosswalk or intersection. A huge
Yeah.
intersection.
It looked really dangerous.
Yeah.
Like they're fighting in the middle of the street, literally. Yeah.
It wasn't really more a fight. It was more like a beatdown. I wouldn't say they're fighting.
Yeah, I mean, because the other guy, the Asian guy obviously did not want to fight, but like the other guy would just
Right.
kept putting his hands on them and like,
Right.
yeah. I mean, you gotta stand up for yourself, and that's like kind of the
Yeah.
whole, like I don't know if you know, They Can't Burn Us All, that kind of movement of
Oh, yeah.
China Mac and William Ham. Like I met those guys in LA briefly, and I checked out I went out to join the rally, and their whole motto is like, yeah, you can't, like, you can try to burn one of us, like that poor old lady grandma in New York that some teenagers try to burn, but you can't burn all of us, right? And you have to fight back. And China Mac, he's even saying like, dude, all you Asians, start doing push-ups, start doing some squats, like y'all gotta you guys gotta beef up a little bit. We gotta fight back, That's kind of his like mentality, and I think a certain amount of that is pretty healthy. I think maybe reacting to everything, like, oh, you call me a chick, and then you go smack him in the face, like maybe just tell them to shut the fuck up. That might be, you don't need to smack everyone in the face that calls you a bad word, I think. Yeah. I don't think it has to escalate to physical violence every time, right? I think the example you gave of that crosswalk, I think that was self-defense. Yeah.
I mean, ideally, what would happen is, we would teach people that it's not okay to like say racist things to people. Then, I mean, it's sort of like the fault of society in some way because they're not. A lot of this messaging obviously is not getting through to people. It's like you cannot call people a chink. That is just not okay. You know what I mean? You can't do that. And like you said, if like the president is advocating for all these racist behavior and attitudes, then people who are not critically thinking about stuff, they're just going to think, oh yeah, it must be okay. It must be okay to like think that. So that's the most damaging thing is you have like a racist asshole as a president,
Right.
And
Right.
so that it makes people think, yeah, okay, I guess it's all right to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think as kind of what Dan said to me earlier was, I mean, the education system has a lot to do with it too. I mean, maybe the teachers and parents are not teaching the right way, and they kind of encourage that kind of action. I mean, so that's something needs to be fixed there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think so.
because I think the homeless, like the kids are like they, even though they know all the details, they'll pick off the major themes of what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you can even ask kids, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Trump, he's like." They'll pick up on those mannerisms and those racist ideas. You know? Yeah,
racist and sexist, right, and misogynistic. So
yeah, and then homeless people in a way are, a lot of them have mental illness. Unfortunately, and so in a way that even if they're grown adults, their mind may react to these kind of big ideas, to these political overtures like a kid. And just take the biggest ideas, but then they because they have the mental illness, they'll start muttering. They'll basically play it back like a broken record, like, oh, input of shit, output of shit, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
You
I have
said-
to, I gotta
yeah.
say, if I had heard more clearly what the person of the Trader Joe's line had said to me, I might have like popped off, but I didn't really hear clearly until the person was farther away. Like I could hear like some people yelling at that person from farther, like down the line farther, like saying, you can't say that. But by the time they had passed me by, I couldn't pick it up because
Yeah.
I mean, I would have, I probably would have like said some shit to them.
Yeah. And,
So
and the thing is, I've done both. There was one time a guy flipped me off, and I chased him down, and I was like, "What the fuck, why you flipped me off?" He's like, "Oh, it wasn't for you." I'm like, "I was the only fucking guy there," like, "Why you flip me off?" And I start recording him, he starts recording me, and he leaves. And like real talk, I did feel a little bit more empowered in that situation than the other situation with the homeless lady. But at the same time, both did not feel good because I had so much anger in me. I was this close to beating that guy up just for flipping me off, and that I don't think that would have been good for both of us. Yeah. So Dan, I mean, going back to your statement about how the education's failing, and so I think Val is touching on this a little bit too. I mean, you guys are both talking about systemic structural change, right?
Yeah.
Dan, is that what you're talking about, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way we portray things and the way the history books that we have in our schools are not the best history books that we have, and they've been curated by some people who have a clear agenda of how they want to portray history, and history is written by the victors. So, I mean, the South, they have all these monuments to Confederate leaders, but I don't think the people who are deifying these people understand that those guys were traitors. They were traitors to the country, and they were losers. They lost. So they're like celebrating a bunch of losers who lost, who were also traitors. And then this neo-Nazi stuff, I don't.
Did you freeze?
I think he
oh,
froze.
he did freeze.
Just when he was
Uh-oh.
getting into his rant.
Right. I have to say though, I mean, I was I'm kind of encouraged. Like, remember earlier in the summer when people were just tearing down all those Confederate statues?
Yeah.
Like, and when there was like that for me, like that was like, oh yeah, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Damn, even though
sorry.
it was a little like illegal.
Yeah.
He's
But,
back.
yeah.
Dan,
I was telling
are
you about how I was sort of inspired by the people tearing down the Confederate statues earlier in the summer.
Did he freeze again?
He's frozen again. Yeah.
Or is he pretending?
He's sitting
Yeah,
really
yeah.
still. Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Dan, you keep freezing.
Sorry. Yeah, this MacBook drops Wi-Fi connection. I don't know why.
Yeah.
What? That's weird.
I was thinking maybe it's like hackers trying to stop you from getting into the good shit about how we can get structural change. That happened with like Zoom, right? They stopped like some conversations between Hong Kong protesters and stuff. Yeah. It's so anyways, Dan, complete your thought. We completely missed it.
It's okay. I lost it myself.
I mean, basically you were saying these losers.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's basically that, right? They're deifying these losers, and also we had a whole world war to fight against fascism, and for whatever reason, these people are like, oh yeah, fascism's okay because we're going to be neo-Nazis, but we're also going to be American. And I don't understand that. How can you be American and a fascist and celebrate the swastika? We also have Captain America beating up Nazis left and right. We had Indiana Jones beating up Nazis in the 1980s, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and all that. And we still have like these people who are deifying idiots. Again, losers, right? The Nazis lost. I don't know what it is with celebrating losers.
And speaking of Indiana Jones, rest in peace, Indiana Jones's father, Sean Connery.
Oh,
Yeah. Darren Kwan believes is the best Bond. You said.
Well, no, the media is saying it. I mean, he was good, but I don't know about best Bond.
Okay, but anyways, wait, who's best?
Well, the
Bond?
media.
Who's best Bond then?
Roger Moore's pretty good.
I hate James Bond movies, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about misogyny,
Yeah, seriously, right? I feel like, yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually more upset about. Not upset, but I'm more. I guess the word, I don't know what the word is, but I feel a little bit more sad about Chadwick Boseman's death than Sean Connery. Just as Sean Connery,
Yeah.
I mean, he's already in his 90s, so let's be real. I mean, eventually he won't go as you're that old.
Yeah.
But for Chadwick, though, the reason why it's so sad is because of the fact that no one knew he was sick. And during the time he was sick, he did like 6 movies. I'm like, how can you even have the physical strength to do that? I'm like, Jesus, that's crazy.
Plus, he was like, how old is he? Like in his 40s, right?
Yeah, he's like
young.
40, 41, 42.
42, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, young.
Yeah. He really worked hard to pick like parts that were like positive, really trying to like make a difference with the kind of parts he took too, I feel like,
Yeah.
He played so many iconic parts.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I do agree with that. And that's why it makes him so special too, because he's able to do all that, with all the stuff he has going on. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where like when you look at it, for us when we're doing our regular work, we're like, we really can't complain because the guy was sick and he's still working harder than you, so.
Yeah, but at the same time, I wonder if, did he take a break? Maybe he should have took a break. This is me being the asshole, but maybe he should have took a break. Yeah. No, real talk, because I don't know if I don't know if it would have helped or hurt, who knows? Because you know how, like, yeah, they say, like, for, like, Chinese New Year, like, there's a lot of old women that pass away after Chinese or after Lunar New Year. And I think one of the reasonings is because these older women know they have a lot of responsibility to help feed the families during Lunar New Year, and once but they were ready, but they were already ready to go before.
So wait, like because they have to stop and make more dumplings and stuff? Is that what you're saying?
They're like, you know what? I'm going to stay on this earth a little bit longer to make some dumplings for my family.
Man, wait, is this a real theory, James, or are you just saying that?
I heard it in a book by Carl Sagan, A Candle in the Demon Haunted World. Yeah, science has a candle in the demon haunted world, and it's one of the examples he gives. Yeah.
Interesting.
Who is this?
Carl Sagan.
Really?
Yeah. He brings up this example, but he wrote that about 20 plus years ago, so it may be an outdated study, but
I want to see this backed up by like some kind of like data.
Hard data. Yeah. But I do think there is something about mental resilience, and I think, or like, come on, there's studies about people who retire, right, or people who are working into like really old age, but when they retire, they generally, I think there were some studies about people who retire and then they pass away. If they're relatively old, they generally pass away fairly quickly after retirement or something like that. I don't know if this is backed by hard data, but basically,
because they
don't have anything left to do, I guess. Or
they don't have anything to live for.
Well, maybe it might be right, or maybe that going to work and doing work gives them that kind of adrenaline rush or something. So it just sort of
or structure.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe they just realize they're kind of tired, and it's like, damn, I'm tired.
And maybe I'm tired, yeah. Time to go sleep
tired of
forever.
Why be around?
Anyways, tangent. That was good. That was a nice tangent. That was good. But I was super sad about Chadwick Boseman too. That was, just from the way he carried himself in his interviews and his roles he chose, I just felt like that's a good dude. That's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get, if I wanted to meet an actor, I want to meet that guy, like. So I think Florida went to Trump, right, Dan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Val.
You're not supposed to tell me this stuff. But I have to say, Arizona, right? Didn't Arizona go the other way?
We're not sure.
Arizona has a good chance to go Biden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, that's pretty amazing. Because
that is.
Up until, I want to say just, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it was pretty Republican, right?
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Dan, are you watching ABC or what do you use for your data?
I'm just using Google.
Oh, Google Live.
Because-
Yeah.
because it's based on the Associated Press.
Associated Press. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how structural change. Okay. Have we? Okay. Structural change. Where have we seen successful movements of structural change in our lifetime or in history? I think face masks. That was a big change. Face masks were in culture. There's still fucking idiots who don't want to wear face masks no matter what. That they're always going to be that. But I am happy to see like it's been basically institutionalized everywhere. At a slower rate than I would have liked. Because I think Val, you and I were talking about face masks back in February or March.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
What? Wait. Oh, wait. Like not on the podcast, but
Not on
in
a
life.
podcast, but like just posting it on Facebook. Like, hey,
Oh.
look, Taiwan is wearing face masks. Everyone should. And I was wearing face masks like in March when when they were talking.
Right.
Yeah. So there has been some structural change, but it seems like it's out of like. Yeah, I don't know how structural change can. I don't know how it really happens, to be honest. Like, and if it's going to happen in our lifetime for racism. And I think Dan and I have talked about this. Like, it may take multiple generations for things to change. I think the last big structural change was what, the civil rights movement, maybe. Or do you guys have any thoughts on that? Like, is it possible to have big sweeping change, or what?
Hard.
No.
I mean, I feel like gay marriage, like same-sex marriage, is totally a huge structural change.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, even when I just even remember like, 10 or 15 years ago, like students were super homophobic, like the students that I had, and then all of a sudden it's just like maybe, in the past 10 years, it's like, it's okay. I don't mind if people like are gay, it's fine, it's cool. And now it's legal, right? So I feel like that's like a big ass change, because I think younger people are just more accepting. So
Yeah, I maybe in a legal sense it might be a change, but if you still have religion that exists in this world, that it will never be accepted. I mean, that's just that's just the real talk though, because
yeah,
there's so many religions that are still so big and they're still against it. I mean,
Right.
Mormons are against it. I mean, what you can even say Christians, Catholics, whatever. I mean, even like Scientology, if you want to put that in there too. I mean, I bet they are against it too. So, and these are big religions. And then when you always have that, you're always gonna get pushback no matter what.
yeah.
So
I mean, definitely. I guess it kind of depends on how religious a country is.
we're pretty religious. I feel like our country's
U.S. is pretty religious, but it's legal.
Pretty religious.
Same-sex marriage is legal. Yeah.
That's
true.
I think we're compared to who? Like, I guess we're religious compared to like Taiwan or like Japan.
Yeah.
But we're not religious compared to the Philippines or to
Or Malaysia or something, right? Yeah,
or
that's
freaking
true.
Indonesia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, for me, that's just a big shift. Like, maybe because people are coming out more, like, and they're not hiding it so much. So it's like everybody knows a gay person or a lesbian person or a queer person, right? So it's like they're not all of a sudden like these weirdo, like, perverts that the stereotype is. It's like, yeah, they're just like my coworker or my brother or my sister. So, I mean, maybe that's part of it. So you can kind of maybe be hopeful in that way, right?
I do think you do touch on a good point about like people being bisexual or queer or all these different or this whole idea of being transgender or gender fluid or non-binary. This is for I think for Darren and I's generation, like this is pretty new. I think for all of us on this call is pretty new terminology that I think I had to learn personally in the last couple of years. And I do think, I think that's a pretty big marker of social change. The vocabulary has changed, right? Like kids talking about like Yeah, or like even like I was watching Cobra Kai a couple months ago, and they had like a bisexual character, and it wasn't even a big deal. Like she just like
Right.
I was like, whoa, okay.
That's what I mean about it being like a generational thing, right? It's like these younger people are it's not like a big deal for them or as big a deal for them. So
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, that's true.
No.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of influenced now. Everything's influenced by Gen Z, right? So Gen Z is now generally more open.
Yeah, they're
open
totally
about
yeah.
not only open about sexuality, but the other change would be maybe everyone's more open about mental health, right? Because mental
Yes.
health used to be a stigma, but I mean, still a little bit of stigma, I guess you can say now still, but at least it's more people more aware of it and people are more open about it. So these are those changes by the newer generation, because that's kind of and part of it is probably because due to maybe social media, so kids are able to express how they feel through that, and then and have something to share to other people. Part of it could be that too.
I think a part of it is also like it's out of necessity because the suicide rates have increased, and I think life expectancy in the U.S. is down for the first time in like I think 100 years or something like that because of suicide and opioid deaths and stuff like that. So I think the mental health conversation it's basically it's a coping. We've got to talk. Whatever medication, whatever clinical procedures or methods towards treating mental health are not working. So now I think people are talking about meditation, spirituality, and yoga.
Yeah.
I know Val loves her yoga, right? Is your back better now, or are you?
Yeah, I got a little better. I mean, it's still a little stiff.
Yeah.
Stress. Sitting in the chair doing Zoom is not good.
No, yeah. We don't do Zoom here. We Skype. I don't know if it's the same shit,
Right.
but yeah.
Plus, I watched a whole bunch of movies at SADAF last week. So I was just like sitting for the San Diego Asian Film Festival. I watched like 15 films.
So lucky. I wanted to do that, but I was just like doing all this COVID compliance stuff.
You were working.
I was working.
Oh, man. It was really, there was some really good stuff.
I heard,
Sorry
what?
about
I'm gonna find some way to watch it, quote unquote, I got my methods. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about let's forget about the Biden and Trump guys, but let's talk about propositions. Did you all vote for the propositions?
Yeah, I don't remember what they are, to be honest. Because I cast my vote really early, so
That's good. Yeah, I cast my vote last week. So it looks like for Proposition 14, the one about medical bonds, looks like it's a yes. This is all 55% reporting. Property tax looks like it's going to be a no. That's the one about like I guess a loophole, like rich people can defer their taxes somehow, whatever.
What?
of course it's always for the rich people, right? It's always for the rich people.
Yeah.
Everything.
That one is when the property taxes stay the same for inherited properties.
For like your second or third home, right?
I don't think it gets reassessed is what it is. So if you inherit a house from your parents or whatever, that property value is still going to stay the same. And then so your property taxes are based on your property value, so it's going to stay the same.
Oh, so I guess right now it's leaning towards no, it looks like. Looks like end diversity band. What's the number 16? Repeals a
That's the affirmative action.
Oh, it looks like it might
Yeah.
be a no, it looks like.
Wait, where are you seeing this? Like
Just Google.
from?
Just Google.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I just looked up Propositions California. And this might change in the morning or 14 days from now, or 10 days, or like Friday.
What about 22?
22. Looks like it's a yes.
What's 22? Hold on.
Basically,
That's
it's
Uber and Lyft.
Oh, the drivers. Okay.
yeah. So basically, we're still going to be independent contractors.
But that's bad though, right?
That's
yeah. I think it's leaning towards the bad side. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a good old thing of still exploiting the drivers because the rich people like Jeff Bezos, Amazon don't want to pay their drivers, right? Because he wants to save that extra $18 an hour for these drivers, right?
Yeah.
Like he needs more. Like he needs more money. He needs more money. That's right. He needs more money.
Get into it, Darren. Get into it. Yeah.
There's nothing to get into. I mean,
There's something to get into. That's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what Richard said. These people exploit the lower tier. That's always been history of it. It's always that, the exploitation.
So I bring up the propositions because we were talking about the younger voters, and looks like, okay, number 18, Proposition 18, permits 17-year-olds who will be 18 at the time of the next general election to vote. Looks like as far as today, it's leaning towards a no, which is kind of sad for me because I wanted younger people to vote, actually. Like, if they're going to turn 18 that year, why not vote, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, maybe they're thinking that you may still be too young. I guess maybe they think maybe you're not mature enough that you'll get influenced too easily to, I don't know.
Trump is
You know
like,
what was really funny?
Trump is like 75 years old.
Yeah. My mom
that was the argument.
voted yes on that, weirdly enough.
You're what now?
Because my mom voted yes on that one for the teen voters.
Really?
Yeah, and she like gave me some reason why that was like so sensible. It's like, Mom, really? Wow. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know where she got her. She said at first I was not supporting it, but then I figured that they should be able to vote because something. And I can't remember what it was, but I'm just thinking, whoa. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, there's that one. There's also the one about what the people who are coming out of jail, they should be able to vote too. I forget which one that one was. Yeah, that like both of those are pretty like. Which one was it? Stricter parole? No, not that one. Restore former felon vote. Oh, that one passed, so that's good.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. It looks like it's at 60%. That looks like it's gonna be a shoe.
Okay, you guys. I told you I wasn't going to look at the election things, but now it looks like Georgia may be for Biden.
Oh, no
really?
way.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on,
yeah.
but right now it says that like Trump is leading Georgia though.
yeah.
No,
Is it? Oh no. Okay.
they changed it on the New York Times.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not following it like with like laser detail like some people are. But this is what just some people on my Facebook are posting.
Georgia, yeah, ABC.
I'm looking at New York Times and it says Trump, but +5 in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm seeing +5 in Georgia.
They changed it.
Really?
to- Where is it? Oh man, someone just
Wow.
posted this. Shit.
Right now it's actually really close because what? Trump at 212 electoral votes now.
Wait, Georgia, isn't that where like To Kill a Mockingbird takes place? Make him counting?
Maybe.
Yeah. I liked To Kill a Mockingbird, but the second book I wasn't a huge fan of, like the Night Watchman one or whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, I didn't read that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 223 to 212. Georgia is still showing
Yeah, Trump.
Okay, so now it says New York Times needle now tilting Georgia towards Biden.
Really?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not really paying attention
Me,
that
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I feel like well, Trump already won Texas, so we know that.
Fucking-
So Texas and Florida, Trump already won. So I think the main one Biden really needs to focus on now is really
Pennsylvania
Pennsylvania and also North Carolina.
and Michigan.
Michigan, I don't think he's gonna get it.
Really?
I don't think so.
Michigan's only reporting 61% so far, and there was a bunch of mail-in voters.
Okay, maybe. So I guess Pennsylvania and Michigan, because North Carolina doesn't seem like it's gonna tilt Biden's way.
No, but Michigan is like they have 3 million votes that they have to count.
It depends on if it's cities or countryside.
Yeah.
Because it's like Detroit, Lansing, all those places are pretty democratic. So
Right. Well, Wisconsin have a chance too. Looks like.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's like there's a lot of ones that are really close. So
Yeah. So,
anyways,
whatever the results, um,
Time to move.
time to. So,
Yeah, dude.
have you
God,
guys seen
lot of
any?
work to
Move to
do.
Canada. Move to Canada.
Has anyone seen any like rioting or not rioting, but like protesting or anything outdoors, or not really? How's the Bay Area been? Pretty quiet.
oh no, nobody does that here.
Uh,
No,
I saw some
people
Black
are-
Lives Matter signs on the way back home for this in Sherman Oaks, so that's kind of comforting, I guess, a little bit. But I don't know if it makes a difference. I think, yeah, okay. So let's, when by the time this is released, it's probably going to be a few weeks after the election. But what are it'd be interesting to circle back and listen to this again, but like, okay, does your life change at all if Trump wins, or does your life change at all if Biden wins? So like, let's start with the Trump. If Trump wins, Darren, how does life change or stay the same for you?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, if you really, I guess if I really think about it, I mean, you might be right. If Trump wins, probably not much change. It's probably gonna be much the same as how it was his first 4 years. But I mean, in a sense, you can say that's not terrible, but at the same time, it's not good because you always want to make progress, right? So, I don't know. To be honest, that's the thing is that Trump is so unpredictable, and that's the reason why I'm afraid of him winning again, because his first 4 years, I think maybe his main focus was just try to win the re-election. So I feel like now this final 4 years, this last 4 years, I feel like he's gonna go all out and do crazy stuff. I don't know what. And I'm just not surprised if it does happen.
Huh. So
And
like,
then, you know,
Yeah, they're gonna try to ban legal immigration.
you're gonna try
You
to do
know,
all that
I mean,
stuff.
it's not good.
It's not
They're
good
gonna
if he
do all
wins
kinds
4
of
years.
shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bad things that are
Yeah,
gonna
it's gonna be
happen.
bad. Because his first 4 years, like he, I mean, I guess you could say he kind of took it easy, or he was still feeling his way. But now, if he wins again, then he's all like, "Okay, I'm the shit. I have the power. I can do all this stuff." now. You guys are all-
I don't
you
need
guys
to
are all
win
fucked.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are all fucked. So basically, that's kind of.
I mean, it
yeah.
could be really, really bad. I mean, the worst case would be like there won't be any more elections, right? It's just going to be like martial law and like president for life and shit. I mean, that's not that far off because he is kind of a sociopath.
He is.
So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny though? Actually, now since Valerie you brought that up, is that there was an article I think in the Atlantic, and they were actually saying that if Trump loses, something bad will happen because he is a sore loser. If he loses, like he would make something happen to the point that like either I win or no one else wins. Like
Well, there's
that's
that
his,
too.
that's his mentality. That's his mentality basically.
yeah. Ay,
It's
So-
very sad. Very sad.
So let's switch it around. What if Biden wins? Does anything change?
oh yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
At least get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get like COVID under control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's-
pay
Or-
attention to science.
Yeah. And at the very least, he doesn't lie, or at least don't lie that much.
He doesn't lie that much. Exactly, right?
Right.
He is a politician after all.
Yeah, that's a big improvement. Not to lie that much is a big improvement.
He's a
Right.
politician, but he's not a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I think
Yeah.
one big thing is, you know how like Taiwan had like a national plan on handling COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Biden, just listening to him and how focused he wants to be on COVID management, that's pretty. That would be a great thing. Just it would save thousands of lives. Because
Oh yeah, so many people.
we don't have a national plan. Oh, just let the states figure out. Like, what the hell's going on? Like really. And I had a friend. he self-quarantined when he came back from China, like, earlier this year, like, probably February or something like that. But he was saying, like, oh, yeah, when he had to make the stop in, I think it was Hong Kong, before coming to the U.S., they did all these swabbing and testing on him. But when he landed in the States, nothing.
They didn't care.
They don't give a shit. They're just like,
No.
oh,
Just
you're
walk
fine.
through the gate. Just walk
Just
through the
walk
door.
through the
Exactly.
gate. And he was like, oh, what the hell? Is like, yeah. And I watched a YouTuber say the same thing. And yeah, whereas Taiwan, like, first of all, you have to be a resident to go there. And then two, like, everyone, 14-day quarantine. And then contact tracing. And there's also a national stockpile of face masks, And so is this true? From what I've read, in April, the U.S. Post Office was scheduled to release face masks to everyone. Did everyone read this? Yeah.
Yes.
But then the Trump administration stopped it?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like they're actively blocking. It's not like they're just like failing at stuff, but they seem to like be actively blocking any kind of plan.
That's a crime against that's a crime against humanity.
Yes, but he's the president, so he can get away with it.
No, stopping face that could have stopped.
Yeah.
You could have. We wouldn't have been in the pandemic by now. Like, if we had that early on did a national distribution of face masks, holy shit, it would have saved so many lives.
Yes. Yep. But we kind of already know that he doesn't care.
Yeah, and just like also I was watching some of the most watched, back in March or whatever, some of the most watched YouTube videos on coronavirus and stuff like that. One was like a Joe Rogan guy, and then there was another lady that was a TED Talk, and they both said, face mask, nah. I mean, the lady on TED Talk, she was like a public health official or whatever. She's like, oh, you don't need face masks because it just blows back in your face or some shit like that. She's an idiot. And then the other infection specialist, he was like, well, it helps a bit, but K95 is better, blah blah blah. But from the research, there's a New South Wales research, and there's a bunch of other studies too, where basically it blocks droplets, and this disease spreads through droplets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still butthurt about the face mask thing. No matter, I'm still butthurt about it. I cannot believe. I was guilty of this. When I first lived in Taiwan, I saw everyone wearing face masks. As an American, I was like, man, I don't want to wear a face mask. It's so annoying. But I got sick that month. I got sick that month. That's probably my fault. Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
oh man.
yeah,
Okay, you guys are
pretty much
getting
the
me all
case.
worked up before I have to go to sleep now.
Okay, let's talk about some nice topics and let's call it a night. Yeah, Dan, why don't you bring up a nice calming topic for us to talk about?
I've been watching Letter Kenny on Hulu. I enjoy it a lot.
Letter Kenya?
Letter Kenny. It's one word.
Letter Kenny?
It's Canadian humor, but it's pretty funny to me.
Okay, so you like Canadian humor?
If you watch this, it's actually more than just Canadian humor. It's pretty.
Okay.
I think it's like multiple seasons. Oh wow, it's already on season 8, season 9. Okay. Yeah. What else? What have you all been watching? So Valerie, any highlights from the San Diego Asian Film Festival you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, there were so many good movies. I think I watched like 15 movies, and like probably like 12 of them were really good.
Nice.
So, yeah, but I there was one called 76 Days, which I thought was really good. It was about the 76-day lockdown in Wuhan.
Oh wow.
And it was like this verite one, and that's going to get a lot of buzz. I'm sure you guys are going to hear about that one. But then I saw this totally other end of the spectrum, this really wacky kung fu comedy called Paper Tigers, which is about
Bao Tran, yeah.
Yeah, which was so fun and stupid, and it just was great. So there's like a range of like these really hard hitting films and that kind of thing, but also really well made, and fun to watch.
Yeah, I met him at the so Darren and I met him at the Seattle Asian Film Festival.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was talking about this movie, Paper Tigers, and like, oh, that sounds like down my alley. Martial arts, fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's awesome for like he's getting some because I think he showed also at Boston Asian Film Festival.
Yeah, and it got picked up by MTV Distribution.
That's amazing.
So he's he's gonna get it out there. So.
Yeah, I think he's in last time because on the talk. I think he said he was in Canada right now or something. He's like, oh, I can't watch the SIDAF movies because it's geo-blocked.
Oh no, you got to get a VPN. Where's his VPN?
Get a VPN? Yeah.
Not hard, dude. Come on.
Especially after this election, let's all get VPNs.
I got VPN after the last election.
Yeah.
I get VPNs because I need to watch stuff overseas.
Yeah.
So.
Darren, anything you're watching right now?
Not really. I haven't really had time. I think the last thing I watched was a documentary called The Social Dilemma. That's the last thing I watched. That was actually very interesting. You should check it out too. Because it details everything about social media and the kind of all the behind the door stuff that we didn't know about. Because they interview like former like tech employees of all those like social media companies. It's just like after watching it just makes you think about it and kind of cringe. You're like, oh my god, this is just like the most evil thing people can do.
Right.
These companies do. So it's on Netflix. You can just watch it. Yeah.
It's basically digital. It's digital heroin, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's really bad.
Val, did you see that one documentary? Was it Finding Yin?
I missed it. I was going to watch it, but I just ran out of time.
Yeah,
I heard it's good. It's a little grim though, right?
It's a little grim,
I was a little scared. Yeah.
It's about I was kind of scared, but the director seemed really like happy, So I'm very curious to see how she can tackle. It's kind of like Irish Chang. Like how can these filmmakers and writers tackle such very dark subjects and not come out of it unscathed? I'm sure you as a educator and filmmaker, you've probably thought about this.
Yeah, it's hard. I think. I mean, you got to watch out. But I saw another really good movie about like kind of digital stuff. It's called Coded Bias, which again I think you're going to hear a lot about. So that's about how it started out because some woman at Harvard was doing research and she figured out that facial recognition couldn't identify black people, right? People who had darker skin. So it follows her a little bit on this sort of like journey, and then it goes into all kinds of stuff about facial recognition and how like there's bias against dark people, all kinds of really cool stuff. How there's like implicit bias built into what algorithms that determine who gets like bank loans or if you get a credit card or whatever, all this stuff that affects your life, and it's based on these algorithms that kind of are maybe inherently racist.
Wow.
so it's cool. It's a good movie. It's called Coded Bias.
That's
I think that touches on our original topic of like structural change. Like, if the what's the word? If the analog stuff is racist, our paper or like our paper systems or like our documents and our textbooks, it informs our digital systems. I think because from the analog, the digital was born out of it started from what was established before it. So I think for me, to help me calm down a little bit, I've been watching Terrace House, like the reality show. Yeah.
Oh wow, God, you've been on that for a long time.
Yeah. I took a break. I was watching Satoshi Kon's Paranoia Agent, and I still need to finish that. It got really weird towards the end. I really like Satoshi Kon because if you ever watch Every Frame of Painting by Tony Zhou, he did a whole lesson on Satoshi Kon's editing, and like the way he edits images or he composes images smashed together for anime, it's just amazing. And I think for Paranoid Agent, it really talks about some really interesting topics, but it gets like really towards like the 8th or 9th episode, it gets kind of super weird. So I stepped out for a bit. I'm like, you know what? I need to take a breather and watch like some random, just some what's it called? Life porn. You know, like you watch these people, like these all these beautiful Japanese people living in a beautiful house in a very constructed scenario. It's
Right.
like barely reality show, because like there's no way they're all just gonna be sitting at a table and chatting about goals like randomly, like and there's a camera
Yeah.
there and they're not gonna notice. Dan, any thoughts on
That's
this
why
topic?
they call them unscripted now, as opposed to reality, right? Because it's definitely totally fake, but they just don't give them dialogue.
Yeah, basically, yeah. They say, hey, why don't you talk to her about, you know, something
Yeah.
like romantic, you know? And so Dan, your contribution is Letter Kenny then? Yeah.
Leather Kenny, and then I'm also trying to get through The Queen's Gambit on Netflix.
Oh,
I-
yeah.
I-
Heard about that, too.
I heard about that. My roommate likes it. Yeah. It's because she's a professional chess player, but in a man's world, I guess, is kind of
Yes.
like, yeah.
Okay.
So let's end it with a language corner. I didn't prepare one, but I can probably think of one. If anyone has like some sort of term, I mean, an easy one is 选举, right? 选举 means election. So 选 means to choose. 举 is like 举 is like to hold a event or something. So holding an event for choosing is called an election. 选举. And then 候选人 is like basically candidates. Those are two Mandarin terms I know of. And does anyone have any language corner?
I didn't really prepare one.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? It reminded me, another movie that I saw at Sadaf was this movie that was all in Taiwanese from like 1960.
Oh.
It was called The Husband's Secret, and it was really cool because I had never seen like a whole movie that was all in Taiwanese like that. You know, like some movies, you know, like So Shen sometimes has like little smatterings of Taiwanese.
Yeah, smatterings of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is like a genre movie, like a melodrama that was all in Taiwanese, and it was like, whoa, that was cool. Yeah, it was amazing. So,
Yeah, did it like orally? Like, how did your ears adjust to it? It's a different tone than
It's totally different, and it reminded me of. I know it's not related to Malay; it's more like Hokkien, right? But
yeah.
just it made me more see the connections between like Taiwanese indigenous culture and like Southeast Asian countries like Singapore, Malaysia. You know, because Singapore has Hokkien, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, to hear that language and hear these people speak, and then all of a sudden I like was looking in the backgrounds and it's like, oh, there's a lot of palm trees there. And so you start to think more like how Taiwan is more like this tropical like island as opposed to being like this like urban, you know, metropolis-y kind of place. It's really like an island country. So, you know,
It's
so
a
maybe I'm
tropical
thinking, is Taiwan maybe more like Pacific Islander in some ways, you know? Because I know
mean,
like the
yeah.
indigenous people are like Austronesian, which is like related to Hawaii, you know, and some of the Pacific. Anyways, this is a whole tangent. Sorry, but yeah, so that was kind of cool to see that movie and just realize that, you know, because you know now Taiwan is so connected to like supposedly like China, right? All the people who came from China, and there's very China influence and Japan influence, but to see like more of this like sort of like more of the Southeast Asian connections was interesting. Because I never thought of that before. Yeah.
Beibai is another one. Beibai means like not bad. Beibai that's a Taiwanese term. Beibai.
In Taiwanese, yeah.
Yeah, Beibai.
Yeah.
Or today I was talking to a guy. He's from Shenzhen, but his wife's from Chaoshan. But basically he was saying like one of the dialects that his wife's family speaks, like when they say go eat, japeng, which sounds very similar to japeng. Japeng means to eat rice or to eat, and that's in Taiwanese Hokkien, or Taiwanese, yeah, Japeng. Cool. Dan, anything?
No.
How do you
I
say?
think he's more focused on other things.
How do you say election in Japanese?
I don't know, actually.
Or how do you say to vote? Yeah.
I don't know. I've never actually discussed that with my mom before.
Or how about president?
大統領.
大統領. So like big head or something, or
I'm not sure.
yeah,
I've never looked at the kanji, but 大統領 is the word for president. As opposed to president of a company, it's 社長.
社長. Okay. Well, that concludes our election night podcast-ish. Should we? Okay, so we will not end with any result updates for Valerie's sake. Valerie can look that up on her own. So we ended on a nice calming topics of movies and language. May you all have sweet dreams, and whatever happens, happens. And I think Dan, I guess one idea Dan and I have always talked about is how, you know, whatever happens has already happened, right, Dan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Already happened.
It already happened. It's I guess according to the space-time continuum / quantum physics / you know, it's
the space-time continuum.
It all exists and
at the same time.
And at the same time, and maybe there's some peace in that. Who knows? Yeah.
Is this like Shikata-ganai?
All right.
Shikata-ganai, yeah. Shogunai, right? Or yeah.
Shogunai is like, no recourse. But there's also shimatta. It's like, oh shit, we're screwed.
Oh shit, we're screwed. I guess time to prepare your Canadian passport.
Shimatta. Okay.
All right, you guys.
Right.
Sleep tight,
bye.
okay?
Sleep well. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Yin and Young the Podcast, episode 52, Election Night 2020, with Valerie So, Darren Kwan, James Y. Shi, Daniel Yin. This episode was produced by James Y. Shi and Daniel Yin, edited by Gabriel Toya Melendez. And for more episodes, please go to jamesyshi.com/yin-young-podcast. Thanks so much.